France 24's Gallagher Fenwick is in Santa Rosa and joins us now. Gallagher, what's going on there right now?
It's an incessant activity going on up in the air and on the ground with hundreds of firefighters tackling this blaze. I am indeed in Santa Rosa, Sonoma County, one of the hardest hit areas. And out here, especially behind me, local authorities explaining that this is a backing fire, slowly making its way down the hill, but pushed by a tremendous amount of energy. That is pretty much the best case scenario, because at this point, firefighters who have set up camp at the bottom of the hill with their engines and their equipment are ready to aggressively tackle this blaze with the help, of course, of those water tankers pulling huge amounts of water out of local reservoirs, which are usually used for the many wineries around here. So this absolutely does not yet look like the beginning of victory. As one local firefighter was explaining to me, there's still a lot of work that remains to be done. This zone has been put under a mandatory evacuation order, but in neighboring areas, we're already starting to see some civilians slowly making their way back, perhaps not indefinitely, but certainly basically coming back to sort of assess the damage. And what they see, as you can tell behind me, is a lot of devastation, as one firefighter described it, looking very much like moonscape.
Yeah, and of course this fire has been raging for more than a week now, and the high winds are presumably making the issue of containing that fire all the more difficult.
Absolutely, and that's why these, firefighters, first responders, police officers, and local authorities insist that we shouldn't be obsessed with these so-called containment figures, simply because conditions on the ground shift so quickly and dramatically that you can go from a blaze being contained at only 3% to 45% in the span of 24 hours, and then see that number go back down to, 20% some hours later, because these winds have a tendency to pick up and change directions, and that really complicates the tasks of these firefighters, who are also seeing another very worrying phenomenon, and that is when two major fires merge with each other, being pushed by these heavy winds that are being described as a perfect alignment of conditions to create a very strong fire. And that is very warm temperatures, dry air conditions, and these strong winds and very low humidity. That pretty much is the recipe for these kinds of very strong fires that we're seeing basically roll through these rolling hills of Napa, Sonoma, and other neighboring counties.
Yeah, extraordinary scenes, an incredibly destructive fire by the looks of things. Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed. France 24's Gallagher Fenwick in Santa Rosa. Thanks again.